Hello, my name's Michael Conneely, and this video is filmed just after the moment of Winter Solstice, on the time when the old sun dies and the new sun is born. And I'm here with a group, and we've just completed, each of us, a meditation. What about ourself needs to die with the death of the old sun? Let's identify that. And what characteristics do we need to bring in and hold ourselves in as the new sun rises? We're in the most beautiful spot on the top of quite a mountainous hill on the northwest of Ireland. Just behind me is a major burial cairn for Ireland's Neolithic first farmers who came here about 3,500 BC. And I indeed have their DNA. They are part of my ancestors. And that I felt was important as I did my meditation within the group. But many other things also came to me about weaknesses I simply want to die, get rid of, and strength characteristics I want to bring in. And when I finished telling you about the winter solstice, I'll actually do a little skim round of this utterly beautiful West of Ireland landscape with the camera. But first of all, let me just tell you the astrological energies, in case hearing them helps you connect deeper to the death of your old sun and the birth of the new sun you want. So just before this winter solstice, the sun went across galactic centre, thus contacting a huge source of energy and power. And we must be aware that energy and power are available to us. Another big thing to be aware of is that Saturn is closing on Neptune, both of them in Vedic Pisces, and they're close to exact conjunction at 6 Pisces on the 18th of February. Now, Neptune positively is our psychism, our vision, our intuition. Saturn positively is discipline and structure. And so we need to assist the birth of our new sun with the combination of sensitivity, intuition and psychism, and yet structure and discipline, the highest meaning of each of Saturn and Neptune, not their lowest meanings, where Saturn sort of blocks and brings misery, and Neptune brings deception and illusion. None of that. The next thing to be aware of, thirdly, is that Mars is conjunct this sun, and they're in Mula Nakshatra at the beginning of Vedic Sagittarius. And Mula Nakshatra is ruled over by Niriti, the graveyard goddess, the goddess of death and rebirth. And so I invite you to do your meditation, fairly close time in the days coming up, and then keep reviewing how you're doing. When you finish your meditation, write down the conclusions you came to about what needs to die and what needs to be reborn, and then, if necessary, add new insights and note how you're doing. And blessings to all of us. So the fourth point to note is that, and this is really big, Uranus is at 4 of Vedic Taurus conjunct Sedna, the asteroid energy of the most terrible events, and yet revolution through shattering events. And so it's a call to us. Yes, we may have well had terrible events in our birth, our childhood, our adulthood, but out of those comes positive revolution of Uranus. And fifthly, Lilith is opposition Uranus. Now Lilith is so important to know about in your chart, your life. And Lilith is what is stuffed down into our shadow and our unconscious. We need to look into that and bring it to the light and manage what's there in a healed, empowering way, including hidden bits of our personality that were either rather awful or we weren't allowed them because they were good, depending on our upbringing. And those Lilith bits massively affect who we are and our attitude to life. Well, Uranus and Lilith are in opposition now. Bring in revolution. Do work with your Lilith. Indeed, get an astrology reading with me. I always combine Vedic astrology with Western astrology, so you get the most magnificent statement. Vedic astrology is essentially based on our fate and destiny from previous lives and our life purpose and direction now, whereas Western astrology essentially is our emotionally based self and the unfoldment of our emotionally based self. So you can go to my Starwheel astrology website and get one of my wonderful astrology readings. You can combine it with shamanic healings, which I do. You go to my Druid Forest School website. And indeed, this particular meditation and climbing up this mountain was run by Edward Durand, and you can see his wonderful tours in the Sacred West of Ireland tours on my Druid Forest School website. And by the way, if you want to see the chart for the actual moment of winter solstice, go to my Starwheel astrology website and under the More drop-down, work your way down the months column and go to, and open the December page, and you'll see the chart for the moment of winter solstice today. And I've already mentioned Sun going over galactic center, Saturn closing on Neptune, Mars conjunct Sun, Uranus conjunct terrible Sedna, Lilith opposite Uranus. But there are a couple more. In chart aspect shape astrology, there's a cradle chart aspect shape. And a cradle chart aspect shape in a person's chart means they want to live their life wanting to be cradled. But when the cradle is at the top and upside down, they can't, because the cradle will always tip them out. Well, please hear, this is the energy of this winter solstice. You can't snuggle into your cradle and cling to your cradle with this one. You're going to be tipped out. And so that's an extra incentive not to be cowardly or self-indulgent, but to be healed and the hero. So the base of the cradle, which is at the top, is Neptune and Saturn sextile Pluto, and the bottom of the cradle is Lilith opposition Uranus. Now the last one is so important to know. This is Chiron conjunct Eris. Chiron is the wounded healer. Eris is an energy of anger and irritation and fighting. Well, they're conjunct at 29 degrees Vedic Pisces. And the thing is, because it's at the end of Pisces, it's one of the three Gandanta zones which give no support, which are immaterial. This world is not supportive. And so if you have an aspect to your birth chart from Chiron conjunct Eris at the Pisces Aries Gandanta, then you might well be feeling ever so unsupported. Your wounds might be surfacing for healing, of course. And that's the thing about Chiron. Chiron is the wounded healer. It's no good saying, oh, I've got this wound, I've got that wound. We now have to embrace the healing of our wounds, identify them, note them, work at healing them, and indeed bring that healing into the birth of the new sun that is you, the new sun that is me. So I hope this little dash through the 2025 Winter Solstice has been of help. I'm now going to show you, I'm going to take the camera off the stand and just show you the utter beauty of this land where the meditation was held. So here we go, I'm taking the camera off the stand. And so what we see there is the setting sun, and there's a beautiful range of mountains there, utterly lovely. I don't know if they're showing up in, the way the camera's focused. And there's another range of mountains. You can see various locks that are utterly beautiful, have huge history and poetry and spiritual energies attached. And then moving round, you can just see the front pinnacle of Ben Bulben Mountain. And then, completing the turnabout, there is the Knocknarea Cairn, the major tomb of the Neolithic people. Around it are many, many smaller court tombs. And so this is such an appropriate place to attune to the land, and that's what I started doing when I did my meditation. Attune to the limestone land here. Be strengthened by the ancestry, the energy that exists going back. And then move more to you or me as a person. Identify weaknesses we will no longer manifest, and identify the nature, the characteristics of the new sun that is born now at this winter solstice, which we experienced on this beautiful land. So, for the astrology, go to my Starwheel astrology website. For the tours, go to my Druid Forest School website. And for shamanism and so forth, go to my Druid Forest School website. And yes, there's also my Love Star dating website, where many healers work assisting people who are looking for love, but also might need help in some healing way. So I hope this video has been helpful, and thank you.